Okay, so we're picking up where we left off. I actually am probably just gonna go ahead and make a whole video that's just dedicated to questions because uh, I've made multiple videos trying to get this out for you guys at this point. So, um, back to my booking. I booked Delta. If I had to do it again, I would definitely book first class coming back out. I booked Comfort when I was leaving DR with wheelchair service. I know some people, like some things that I was even concerned about, and some dolls had said that they had got stopped by customs on their way back, and was like held up through customs and stuff like that. I really could not even imagine if that happened to me when I was coming back because of the amount of pain I was in. I was in extreme amount of pain. I can't imagine if they would have held me up in customs for anything, for any reason. Like, I can't even imagine. I just wanted to get out of there. Like, when I tell you, when it was time to come home, I couldn't have came home quick enough. I spent 10 days out there and I literally couldn't have came home quick enough. Like, I was ready. I could have been the pilot on the plane. I was ready to go. I was ready to be flown out. Okay? Like, ready to go. Oh, Jesus. So I had wheelchair service. The guy who took me, he didn't speak any English. That's another thing to be prepared about, guys. People do not speak English. I thought that there would be some people who spoke English and majority of people wouldn't speak English. No one speaks English. No one speaks English. I repeat, no one speaks English. Out of all the people I met when I was there in my recovery process, there were maybe 5 people who spoke English, and their English was very broken up. So be prepared for that. Be prepared that they don't speak English. And also if you have those translation apps on your phone, if you don't have them handy. Also be prepared for your phone not to work. I don't care who's your provider, who's your service. Before I left to go to DR, I called my provider, which at the time was Sprint, told them I was going to be in DR, asked them if I had coverage out there, if I didn't have coverage to add the coverage. And they told me, fine, yeah, it should work, no problem. It does not work. When I was in my recovery house, no one's cell phone worked. No one provider worked. Your provider is not going to work. So please make sure you book with a recovery house if that's the route that you're going to take. I'll get into later why, if I had to do it again, I would have not booked the recovery house. If that's the route you're going to take, that they have Wi-Fi. Make sure the clinic that your doctor operates in has Wi-Fi. Everything. Make sure it has Wi-Fi. Even the car that you're going to be picked up and dropped off at the airport has Wi-Fi. Okay? If you're going to stay at a recovery house, most of the time your driver is going to be George. If you have been researching, you probably are familiar with George, or if you heard his name as the driver. He's everything that you pretty much read about him. He's amazing, very nice, truly cares about the dolls, and he does have Wi-Fi in the car. Real big benefit. Shout out to George. George is really nice. He's super nice, and he cares about the dolls. So, and he also, he doesn't work for one recovery house. He works for all of the recovery houses. It's him and a team of, his employees that pick up dolls, and that's all they do is take dolls to the recovery house. So for the most part, you're going to meet George at some point in time. If you're booking with a recovery house, unless you are a Cabral doll. I will get into that later, why he told me personally, he does not work with Cabral dolls. Now I'll tell you guys now. So basically, George told me that the only reason he does not work with Cabral dolls, that's the only doctor, he does not pick up their dolls and take them to their appointments or pick them up from the airport and things like that, is because it's a 50-50% chance with Cabral that you can possibly die. He said, in his exact words, was either you come out like a doll or you pass away. It's 50-50. So he does not take any Cabral dolls. And yeah, that freaking makes sense. I can understand why he wouldn't. But let that sink in, because I know that there is some girls out there that go hard for Cabral. And let me tell you something. This man lives in Dominican Republic. How he makes his money is by working with recovery houses and dolls and the doctors. That's how he earns his living. If he's saying that he is literally refusing money because the dolls have too many complications or they die, so he does not take them, that is a red flag to not go to Cabral. Period. Period. Like, don't even, let's not justify it. Let's not, none of that. No, don't go to him. Period. If you have to choose your life or possibly being snatched, that is crazy. You don't have to do that. There's so many doctors in DR. There are so many doctors in DR. Not just the popular ones that are on IG. There are other doctors that work in the same exact clinics next door to them, downstairs from them, that snatch dolls up as well. Okay? You do not have to decide or be scared that you could possibly lose your life. I mean, you can possibly lose your life here in the United States going and having plastic surgery. But if his, percents are 50-50, that is unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Don't be mad at me, Cabral dolls. You can go ahead and exit yourself, stage left, okay, and get right up off the video, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all and tell y'all, no, not Cabral. Don't do it. And you know what's so crazy? It's because Belo, who I actually had my surgery with, from what I was told from people in DR, is that she actually used to work with Cabral, and that she actually studied underneath him, which makes sense because we all know, if you don't know, that he owns Cipla, which is the known place that most dolls go get their surgery done, and where a lot of doctors perform their surgery out of. That she worked underneath him, and that's how she grew her technique, and then she got her own clinic. But back to where I left off at. And by the way, I don't know if that's 100% true. I did not ask her. I didn't have time to ask her. We'll get to that later on in the rest of the videos. But that's what I was told by people who were in DR, mainly the owners of my recovery house that referred me to Belo. So yeah, I booked Delta. Definitely would have booked first class coming back, because you want to be as comfortable as possible. I wasn't super uncomfortable though coming back to surgery. Coming back from DR in comfort, I just felt like I would have been more comfortable in first class, because I was definitely still in pain. So back to my surgery date. So August the 15th, I was told by Miguel, assistant, was actually a holiday. That was actually a Monday. I flew in town on the 14th, which was a Sunday, August the 14th, which was a Sunday. And I flew in town August the 14th, and like afternoon time. Yeah, afternoonish. Um, Hold on, let me double check that, cause I don't know. I don't know if that's accurate. Hold on, hold on. One time for me, guys. Okay, so yeah, that is accurate. I just had the weekdays messed up. So I flew in on the 14th. Um, my flight, which was a Monday, not a Sunday. I initially wanted to fly in on the 13th, which is that Sunday, August the 13th, but I didn't fly in on that Sunday and wanted to get my surgery done on the 14th, but I wasn't able to do that. I hope I'm not confusing you guys. But I wasn't able to do that because Miguel's assistant told me that August the 14th was a national holiday in Dominican Republic. So I had to get my surgery done the following day, which was that Tuesday on the 15th. So I flew in Monday, the 14th. My flight left at pretty much 10 o'clock. I got to DR about 1:30. George picked me up from the airport. When you get there, you're gonna go immediately to customs. They don't really have too much. I mean, the signage you're not really gonna understand unless you know Spanish. The signage really kind of doesn't. You don't know what's going on. So when you get off of the plane, I pretty much just followed the crowd. And the crowd went immediately to customs, and I went to customs. Let me tell you, when I got to customs, there was this girl there. I wonder if anybody else has seen her. There was this girl there who worked there, and her body was snatched. I mean, her body looked good. Her body looked so good. Tiny waist, big old booty. Her body looked so good. So I was lit. I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be me in a minute. Like, I was so excited. And when you get to customs, they're just basically gonna ask you for your passport. They're gonna ask you where you're staying, so you need to have the address to where you're staying. They're also gonna make you fill out a form on the plane that's gonna ask you where you're staying. So you need to have the address. It's gonna ask you what you're going there for, what you're traveling there for, how long you're staying, your passport information. So you need to have that address and phone numbers on handy, so this way you can go ahead and have all of that stuff for you. So when I got to customs, they basically made me turn in that form. He asked me where I was staying, and I gave him the address. He didn't speak English either. So it was very hard to kind of like, I got the gist of what he was trying to say, so we got through it. Another thing, I know a lot of dogs are usually concerned if they don't pay all their money up front for their surgery about carrying all that money on the airplane. This is what I'm going to tell you. Do not deposit all your money for your surgery in anybody's account or wire it to your doctor before your surgery, before you are actually there for your surgery date. Do not do that. And I'm going to tell you why as we continue through this video. You're going to understand. So please continue to watch. But do not do it. I carried all my money, which I probably had easily $6,000 on me. I carried all my money. It was no problem. It was no big deal. I think I did have I had one of those pouches that you can put on your body, like one of those safe pouches that you can put on your body. that can go underneath your clothes. That's super flat. Um, you can probably like, you can get it from like Amazon or something like that. I had one of those pouches on me, which now looking back, I probably actually didn't need. Nobody was thinking about stealing my shit. One thing that one of the flight attendants did tell me, and actually one of the girls who was sitting next to me on my flight there, was to take off my jewelry. I didn't bring any real jewelry with me. I didn't bring my watch. I didn't bring my necklace. Well, not this one. I didn't bring my earrings. I had on some studs, but they were fake. And I had on a necklace, but it was fake. I didn't bring any real jewelry with me, but the flight attendant did tell me to go ahead and I told her it wasn't real, but before she got into all that, she was like, yeah, you should probably take that off and, remove it or hide it. It wasn't real anyway, but I listened to her. I took it off immediately. I didn't want to give nobody a reason to have any initiative to see that I wasn't from there and rob me or do something like that. I didn't really experience any of those vibes until after I came out of customs. When I came out of customs, you're going to go to your luggage check. That's where you're going to pick up your luggage, whatever you didn't carry on, whatever you actually checked in. When I was at check-in, I'm originally from New York. I definitely felt the vibes of people, because it's people from, all over the airport there at baggage claim. It's not just you and your people who was on your flight with you. It's everybody at the airport has access to that. That's actually inside of the airport. So I definitely felt the vibes of people definitely watching me, for sure. They definitely knew that I didn't belong there, that I wasn't from there, that I didn't live there. I tried to keep my conversation very, very limited. I don't think I really spoken to anybody. I did have to ask for like some directions while I was over there next to baggage claim as well when I was leaving, because again, I didn't know exactly where I was being picked up. I kind of just followed the crowd to get an idea where I was going. That's kind of when it was a scary moment for me too, because then I realized, oh shit, I'm over here and I don't know what any of this signage means, so I don't even know what direction to go. And it doesn't look like up-to-date, at least where the baggage claim part is at, it doesn't really look like a super up-to-date airport either. So that's something to be mindful of. But while I was getting my luggage, I was definitely very mindful not to look nobody in their eyes, not to talk. I didn't want to speak because I didn't want them to know that I didn't speak Spanish, and that I only spoke English. There was actually people there while I was there. There were people there actually coming up to people, like people who weren't a part of the flight, that was just in the airport, not even the workers. There were people there just like walking up to people and talking to them, like saying things to them. And I could tell that they were doing it to see who spoke English, who didn't speak English. So yeah, be mindful of that. Again, I'm from New York, so I stay on my P's and Q's. I kind of, pay attention to my surroundings. So I was, I'm always looking and paying attention about what's going on around me. So when you get to baggage claim, there is an area where you can go ahead and exchange your money, exchange for that currency. I would personally say it's good to have some exchanged money, some of that currency on you, more so for the drivers. George was a part of my George service, and like the picking me up and dropping me off was actually a part of my recovery house that I had got. Guys, I went with Diva Doll International Recovery House. We'll get more into that. That was horrible. Please don't book with them. But he was a part of that package that I got. So when I went to George, when I went down, I basically just followed the crowd, and it led me towards pretty much the outside of the airport. It's like this ramp you're gonna go down. When I went down the ramp, there was George, and he had a sign with Diva Doll International on there, and I just basically went with him. He was super nice. I was kind of cautious because, again, I was on high alert because it was super suspicious back there in baggage claim. So I was kind of on high alert, but he was super nice. As soon as I got in there, he basically, he has a van. As soon as I got in there, he asked me, do you need Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and he gave me the access to Wi-Fi. I think I contacted, the people who didn't know that I was having surgery and let them know, hey, I landed safely, which was awesome. That's awesome that he has the Wi-Fi in there. That's super convenient. He took me directly back to Diva Dolls. He asked me while I was in the car, he said, are you supposed to go to your doctor, or are you supposed to go to Diva Dolls Recovery House? And I told him I'm supposed to go directly to Diva Dolls. So I went to Diva Dolls. He was on the phone, like, trying to talk to them, trying to make sure that was correct. Trying to talk to the recovery house owners to make sure that was correct, that I was actually supposed to go straight there and not straight to the hospital. Most dolls do go straight to the hospital when they land, so this way they can start on their labs. That's why I say make sure that you have your hemo is at a 15, I would say. Make sure you check it fairly close to when you're about to leave to guarantee that, because when you land, your hemo is going to drop. It's not a question. It's not like some people hemos drop. It's going to drop. I'm telling you, it's going to drop. So yeah. And especially if they're going to take you directly to do your labs when you get off the plane, you want to make sure that you're on point. So he took me to Diva Dolls. When he took me to Diva Dolls, the owner actually contacted the assistant from my doctor who I was having my surgery with, which they asked for all the information. They asked to find out who the doctor you're working with and things of that nature. And his assistant told them, hey, bring her over here so this way she could go ahead and get her labs done. That was the first red flag. So if you guys remember, I just told you how the assistant told me that it was a national holiday in DR and that the hospital was going to be closed and I was not going to be able to have my surgery done on the 14th. I had to book it for the 15th, which was Tuesday, because I couldn't get surgery done on that holiday. All hospitals were closed. So when the owner told me that, because the owner literally met me as soon as George pulled up into the driveway of their house. Beautiful house. And so I was like, what she mean? She told me that I can't have surgery done today because there was a national holiday. So what do you mean she wants me to go do my labs at the hospital and meet the doctor? So the owner is just like, I don't know. And George was still there, and George is like, well, I think it was supposed to be a national holiday, but they moved it. So, I don't know. They was talking about they moved the holiday. I ain't never heard. Have you ever heard? Comment below if you ever heard of a national holiday being moved. I've never heard of a national holiday being moved, and I have all my sense. So I couldn't figure that out. That made no sense to me. Um, I was just like, okay. I was just like, okay. There was really nothing I could really do at that point. Like, if she lied to me, if she didn't lie to me, it really didn't really matter. Now I'm all the way in a whole nother country. I have all this damn money on me. I've already given them, a deposit. I've taken off from work, things of that nature. So it really didn't even matter at that point. It was just a red flag to me. Like, well, I wanted that date, and I, paid you guys, what, in April, 4 months ago, and I asked for that date, and you told me that I couldn't have that date because it was a national holiday. So why again couldn't I have came out here on Sunday and got my surgery done Monday? Still don't know the answer to that one. So I went to George, the owner of the recovery house. First off, she asked me if I wanted to get something to eat, and I was like, no, I really don't want anything to eat or whatever. And George was like, we need to go ahead and take her to the hospital then. And she was like, well, she can get a quick bite to eat. And I was just like, no, I'm fine. I don't really need anything. I was like, I'll take like a soda or something. So I think I got a Sprite, and then we walked back out, and George took me to the hospital. I want to stop here and talk about, because I kind of touched on it, but didn't really talk about it, I don't think. How many days you would need to be there. I was there for, excuse me, I was there for 10 days. I think you need to honestly go with whatever your doctor recommends. If your doctor recommends 14 days, I would say go with whatever your doctor recommends, or whatever you guys meet in the middle and decide. I think my doctor wanted me to be there a minimum of 10. I know some doctors, depending on who your doctor is, they require you to be there a certain amount of time, or they will not take you as a patient. So again, talk to your doctor. I took off of work, I think a total of 15 days. And then I was gonna go back to work. That was my plan. That did not happen. I would say all in all, if you're gonna have lipo of any kind, especially 360 lipo, you need to prepare yourself to be out of work for at least, I would say, a month. Let's say a month. You need to prepare yourself to be out of work for a month. I know that sounds crazy. I know some of y'all can't even think about being out of work for a month, but you need to do whatever you need to do to prepare yourself to be out of work for a month. If you cannot do that, then you need to push the surgery back until you are able to do that at some point in time, because that's the time you're going to need. First off, when you come back home from surgery, especially if you're getting 360 lipo, you are going to need a massage every day. Every day. If not every, I say at the max every other day. You don't want to push it, because the massages is what's going to make you not feel stiff and uncomfortable and in pain. They're going to have to drain out that fluid out of you. And you're going to need those lymphatic massages. So you're not going to want to wait every other day. When I came back from surgery, I had a massage every day for a month. And I probably needed more than that. So yes, you need to go ahead and make a significant amount of time for you to be out of surgery. If you're going to get your boobs up, I don't think you really need that much time. When I got my lift, I was not in pain. The surgery buddy that I told you guys about in my prior video, she got her boobs done and she wasn't in pain. I think she got an implant as well, and she wasn't in pain. She actually came back 7 days post-op. I don't know if that's recommended, but she said that she wasn't in any pain as well, which I could believe because I wasn't in any pain in regards to my boobs, but I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't raise my arms. So again, you still have to prepare for those days that you're going to need when you come back home as well. So we went to the doctor's office. I actually have a video of that, so I'm gonna go ahead and insert that video. Either it's gonna be right now or it's gonna be at the end of the video. I have a video at Dr. Miguel Monto's office. His office is it's very nice, extremely clean. And it's really nice. It's really up to date. Another reason why I went with Miguel as well is because I did not want to go to a doctor that was working out of Cipla, which is the hospital that's owned by Cabral. I didn't want to go to any doctor that performed surgery in that particular hospital. That was my personal preference. They had way too many deaths over there. I didn't want no parts. I didn't even want to be close. I didn't want I didn't want nothing to do with that hospital. And he didn't perform his surgeries at that hospital. So that was another reason why I went with him as well. When I got there, he had a doll there. And I was in the waiting area, whatever. And the assistant wasn't there because I definitely was trying to figure out who she was so I could talk to her to ask her exactly why did she tell me that I could not have surgery on the 14th and only on the 15th because it was a national holiday, when clearly she has me doing labs and the doctor is here. But she was sick and was not there, but apparently arranging things while she was sick. So anyway, there was another doll there that he had worked on. I believe she was like a week post-op. And I was talking to her. And she was another African-American young lady. And I was talking to her and I was just like, how do you like, your body? And what did you get done? And how's your recovery stay? And things like that. And she was like, I love the work that he did for me. She was like, I wasn't able to get everything done that I wanted to get done because of my hemo. But she was like, she got majority of everything she wanted to get done with him. She told me that she was ready to go. That the recovery house that she was staying in, 2 young ladies got into a fight. And to the point where one of them pulled out the drain out of the other young lady. That is crazy. I was just like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I was like, what were they fighting about? She was like, some just type of drama. And she was like, they literally got into a fight and they kicked out the doll who pulled out the drain out of the girl. And I was like, well, were both of them like post-op? And she was like, yeah, both of them had just had surgery. I was just like, that is nuts. And she was like, yeah, girl, I'm ready to go. And I was like, wow, I understand. Like, that's crazy. I was like, well, good thing, overall, you made it to the other side. So, good thing for you. And, we talked for a little bit and then she left. Her driver was there and she left. Now, looking back on what she told me, I'm not shocked to hear that 2 girls got into a fight at a recovery house. I'm also not shocked to hear that one pulled out the drain. Not shocked to hear any of that. If I could go back in time, I would have never stayed at a recovery house. I think my entire, for the most part, I think I would have had just an overall better outlook on how my experience was in Dominican Republic if I wouldn't have actually stayed at the recovery house that I did. I wouldn't have stayed at any recovery house now knowing what I know now and my experience. But I wasn't shocked to hear that. Now knowing what I know now about recovery houses and how things really go in some recovery houses. Um, so when I got there, I stood there for a long time. I stood there for maybe an hour and a half, but it gave me time because he had Wi-Fi there. It gave me time to like talk to my family, talk to my friends, tell them that I was okay. But I stayed there for about an hour and a half before he even was able to do any labs on me. I think he was working with some other patients as well. Yeah. So when he finally called me in there, basically the first thing he did was, ask me how my flight was, asked me how everything was. I was like, it was good. He was really nice. He was really sweet. And he asked me to undress, and I was like, okay, good. And I was so excited. I was like, oh God, I'm about to get naked and get a new body. I was so excited. And he asked me to undress, and we basically talked about my surgery. While we were talking about my surgery, he told me, okay, so you're not going to be able to get lipo. You're going to need a tummy tuck. And I was just like, what? I'm going to need a tummy tuck? What do you mean? And he was like, yeah, at first, initially, I was really upset. I was just like, what do you mean? I came all the way out here to get lipo. Like, what do you mean I have to get a tummy tuck? I don't want a tummy tuck. That's like not what I want, I don't have any kids, so that's just a road I just didn't want to go down. You get what I'm saying? I didn't want to have that large scar. I just didn't want to do that. I just felt like that was a really big surgery that I just did not want to have. And he basically told me, yeah, you're going to have to get it. And I was very upset at first. And then he kind of calmed me down, and he was like, listen, I could lie to you and tell you you just need 360 lipo. But the problem is that the elasticity, I know I ain't saying that right. The stretchiness of your skin. You're going to have extra skin. You're going to have a lot of extra skin. He's like, you need to get a tummy tuck to get the results that you want. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? And then he was like, you're also going to need to get lipo on top of that. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I was like, so what is the point of me getting lipo on top of the tummy tuck? Like, if I can't get lipo by itself and the tummy tuck is going to give me the results that you're saying that I need or I want, then why do I need to get lipo on top of that? I couldn't understand it, and I was super frustrated and super upset. And he was just like, that's what we're gonna have to do to give you the look that you want. And when he broke it down to me and basically was like, I could lie to you. I can take your money and just lie to you and say, hey, you just need lipo. And, initially you're going to have the results that you may like, but overall, eventually you're going to have loose skin and it's not going to look well and you're not going to like it. When he broke it down to me like that, that's when I kind of realized, okay, I need to just accept that I'm probably going to have to get a tummy tuck. And I'm here now. Like, what can I really do? I'm here now. And at least he's being honest with me. But we never discussed the possibility of a tummy tuck. So I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't research that. I also didn't know what the recovery was for that. I didn't know anything about that because that's not what I was prepared to get done. So we're talking about that, and then he was like, so what was the price that we quoted you for? And I told him the price. And then I told him also, I was like, you know what, on second thoughts, I think I don't want to go ahead and get the implant. I had brought money enough for both quotes, for the initial quote with the lift and the 360 lipo, and then the quote with the lift, the implant and the 360 lipo. I think the difference in pricing was maybe a